Once more, Kakarot is on Earth, and he's separated from his Saiyan allies. But he's going to bring Raditz and Nappa back. As for what's happening with Vegeta, he's not sure. We'll cover all that and more in this 5th part of What If Kakarot Was Raised by the Red Ribbon Army. A couple of weeks pass. Vegeta's back out in space, and eventually, he's found by King Cold. So, he really has no other option but to fight him. And this seems like a death sentence. I mean, think about it. He couldn't even do anything against Frieza, and while King Cold is weaker, still, Vegeta's not really going to be too much of a challenge for him. So, pretty quickly after being found, Vegeta is defeated by King Cold. But Vegeta doesn't give up that easily. King Cold obviously plans on killing him right now, but he's not going to let that happen. He keeps trying to fight back, feeling insignificant. He couldn't do anything against Slug, against Frieza, against Kakarot, and now against King Cold. How did that low-class scum become a Super Saiyan and he couldn't? Sure, Kakarot's a modified Saiyan, but Vegeta's the prince. He's an elite warrior. He should be the strongest of the strong. He's slowly running out of steam, but then he gets a second wind. These feelings all bubble up inside of him. Through a mix of rage and determination, Vegeta's power soars. For a brief moment, he becomes a Super Saiyan, and it's just enough for him to overcome King Cold, killing him. But he loses the form immediately after, collapsing on the planet that they're fighting. With this awakening out in space, let's go back to Earth and see what's happening with Kakarot. It's going to take more than a few weeks for this to happen, so we're skipping forward another few months. The moment the Dragon Balls are active again, Kakarot goes to search for them. He's had a lot of time to think too, but he was mainly thinking about whether or not this is the right idea. He saw Vegeta already turn against him, so would it be wise to revive the other two Saiyans? At the very least, Nappa he's concerned about. Again, he feels like he owes it to him to revive him, but he's loyal to Vegeta, and look what Vegeta did. Raditz he has no qualms about, though. But he's come to a good conclusion. He's going to revive them both. If Nappa tries to work against him in any way, it'll be easy to send him back to wherever he went. And it's not even so much about bringing them back at this point, it's just the principle of things. And he's come to realize what Vegeta truly fears. Somebody that's supposed to be weaker than him becoming stronger than him. Kakarot's a low-class warrior after all, and he's known for a while that that's messed with Vegeta's head. Even with the fact that he's an android, only so much of his power could be explained by being an android, and he knows Vegeta knows that too. It's an ego thing, isn't it? Shenron's actually nice enough to bring them here because otherwise they would have been revived on that planet that they died on, and probably been stuck there. Of course, Raditz and Nappa are really confused at first. They're back to life on a completely different planet, so it takes some time for Kakarot to explain. Now, Raditz isn't too surprised to know that Vegeta actually just went on his own and completely betrayed Kakarot. Whatever, he was warming up to Kakarot anyway, so he'll stay on his side. As for Nappa, he kind of wants to go and find Vegeta, though he doesn't really have much of an option here because they don't have a ship to go find him with. So he's pretty conflicted. He's loyal to Vegeta and not Kakarot, but it's not like he really has any qualms with Kakarot right now. Plus, the fact that Vegeta abandoned Kakarot and even him and Raditz, the fact that he didn't want to revive them, that kind of rubs Nappa the wrong way. He's going to go do his own thing for a bit. He's going to stay on Earth because he can't leave, but he just goes off on his own for now, while Raditz and Kakarot stick together, even spending some time to train for a bit. The thing is, no one's really done a lot of training recently, but Nappa's out in the wilderness on his own, and immediately after being revived he wants to test out how strong he is right now because he just feels a little insignificant at the moment, especially after that Lord Slug fight. He starts training and his power is immediately detected. A small man finds Nappa pretty quickly, asking if he knows where Kakarot is. He's actually been searching around for strong powers and hasn't really felt much of anything recently. He assumed that Kakarot might have left the planet, but maybe this guy would know about him. Nappa tells this guy to get lost, though he's a bit curious how this guy knows Kakarot. Does he know who Nappa is too? No, he doesn't at all actually, but Nappa says Kakarot's not here. Well, then he's useless. This is Android 15 of course, and he starts fighting Nappa. Android 14 even shows up too, and the two defeat Nappa with ease. Kakarot and Raditz sense this not too far away. They feel Nappa's power spike, and at first they assume he's just training, but then it becomes pretty clear he's not training. He's fighting at full power. So the two of them arrive and Kakarot quickly powers up into Super Saiyan, defeating 14 and 15 with ease, especially once he sees the Red Ribbon Army logo on them. Great. These must be more goons for Jiro. How does he still have androids out there? But then he remembers. Yeah, Jiro was actually working on something when they last saw him. He kept mentioning some Android 13, and it looks like the supercomputer finished things for him. Androids 14 and 15 are technically his final androids, but 13 is the most powerful one. And he's actually not here just yet. They've been awake for a while, actually. But 13 was trying to scope things out more and get more info on Kakarot because he didn't even know if Kakarot was still on this planet. Of course, this entire time he was. But after Jiro spied on them a while ago, he knew that Kakarot left for some brief period of time. They were waiting to strike until they were actually sure Kakarot was back. And then after they killed Kakarot, they could just cause havoc around Earth and take over it, I guess. They were hoping the supercomputer could get more research too, but there wasn't really anything of value in the past few months. The last thing they saw was Kakarot fighting Frieza, and nothing really after that. Anyways, Kakarot tries to question 14 and 15, but they're not really going to answer anything for him. Fine, he'll just destroy them then. With a blast in each hand, he blows up both of the androids, sending pieces of them flying everywhere. As the pieces rain down from the sky, Kakarot hears the metal collide with another piece of metal, or at least that's what it sounds like. He turns back, and there's a man there that he didn't sense before, with the pieces of metal bouncing off him as they rain down, and then Kakarot gets a good look at his clothes. He's wearing the Red Ribbon Army logo. So, he's another android. Kakarot hopes he's not a pushover like the other two, and he says he's not. He's Android 13. Maybe Kakarot's heard of him. Kakarot smirks. So this is what Gero was developing. Gero kept hyping him up as some sort of grand project, and 13 says that's what he is. The injured Nappa is there on the ground, really confused as to what's happening, and Raditz is a bit nervous too. With all his time on Earth, he knows Tao, Android 8, and Blue, and he knows Android 8 is an android, obviously. Plus the fact that Kakarot and Tao are technically cyborgs as well. So shouldn't this android be Kakarot's ally? And Kakarot says it's a bit complicated. Doesn't Raditz remember that old guy that he killed before? Yeah, that was the guy that actually turned Kakarot into an android, and the guy who built this android standing right in front of them. Oh, so it's a revenge thing. Yep, exactly. And Raditz partially wants to get ready to fight, but at the same time, he knows he doesn't really stand a chance if Nappa got defeated by those other two androids, and this guy's claiming he's stronger than the other two. But it might be a bluff, though Kakarot's going to handle this alone. The two of them begin fighting, and with Kakarot in Super Saiyan, he's doing pretty well. Kakarot is pretty surprised though, but it shouldn't be too big of an issue though. Though he notices 13 isn't firing any ki blast at him or anything. He knows about Kakarot's energy absorption. The two keep fighting, and Android 13 kinda wants to speed things up a bit. He might as well finish this with his full power. The pieces of 14 and 15 then start flying around him. Kakarot's confused at first, and then he watches as the parts merge into Android 13. He then grows in size, transforming into something completely different. Super Android 13. And immediately, the tone of the battle shifts. For the first time since his encounter with Lord Slug, Kakarot is facing a real challenge, someone who's far stronger than him. Raditz tries to help, but it's not like he could really do much. It's not like he could even transform into a Great Ape either, nor can Nappa. Their tails are still missing from Lord Slug. Not that it would do anything. Nappa feels like even if they were great apes, it wouldn't really accomplish much. They would just be getting in the way if anything. And 13 is completely stomping Kakarot. Kakarot of course isn't giving up at all. And there are some times in the fight when 13 gets a little bit too ahead of himself, launching ki blast at Kakarot, and Kakarot ends up absorbing it, which gives him a little bit of extra power, but 13's actually just toying with him, giving Kakarot a little extra energy to give him a second wind, just to make the beatdown a bit more interesting. 13 continues beating on him, and then he holds out a hand trying to launch a blast right at Kakarot point blank. Kakarot of course instinctively puts his hands out trying to absorb it, but then 13 stops charging the blast, grabbing both of Kakarot's arms and holding them out to his sides. He fell for it. He then knees Kakarot right in the stomach, stunning him for a bit and then putting his hand up against Kakarot once more, this time charging a blast right on his torso, sending a beam right through it. He can't absorb the blast like this. Kakarot falls to the ground and then 13 floats higher up, charging one last attack to finally finish him off, but something then slices him. It doesn't do a lot of damage to him, but it leaves a deep cut right on his head. He turns back and briefly sees Krillin there, who then launches a solar flare to blind 13. Krillin then quickly flies over to Kakarot, grabbing him up from the ground and finding a spot for him to hide. Krillin's honestly terrified right now. There's nothing he could do against Android 13 and decided to help Kakarot out anyways. Kakarot's barely alive, but Krillin asks if he still has that Senzu beam from before. Oh yeah, that thing he gave him the last time they met. You know, Kakarot finds it kind of funny. He wouldn't have expected Krillin to save him, but thanks him for that. Well, Krillin says to not get too ahead of himself because Kakarot's going to be the one to save them now. Whatever this threat is, it's definitely something Krillin can't deal with. Kakarot actually does have the Senzu beam on him, then biting into it, and then immediately he feels a huge burst of power. His wounds heal. He even gets a Zenkai from this too, and he feels his power surging. He asks for one more thing though. If Krillin really wants to help, lend him some energy. Telepathically he communicates with Raditz and Nappa too. He's about to go back into the fight, and once he does, he wants them to shoot their most powerful ki blast at him. Krillin feels like there's probably a better way to lend energy. Like, he was training with King Kai and learned the Spirit Bomb. He knows a technique that's kind of similar to what Kakarot's trying to do, but Kakarot's actually just asking to absorb their energy. Just launch some really strong ki blast at him. Well, it seems a little shoddy, but it should work. Kakarot goes to his full power, which is stronger than before now. He's pushing that strength to its limits. 13 immediately senses him and flies over to where he is. As Kakarot launches up in the air, Krillin, Raditz, and Nappa all shoot ki blast up, using all the power that they have. The three beams swirl together, and Kakarot holds one hand out, absorbing it all at once. His aura then flares up even further, taking on a bluish hue. He feels so much strength, but no, this isn't enough. He needs more. He goes in to fight 13, and the two briefly clash, but Kakarot's asking for more power. He's not asking anyone in particular, just basically asking himself. He has more locked away. He's going to tap into it no matter what. The boost from his recovery, the boost from the people around him, and now a boost from his sheer determination. Briefly, Kakarot taps into a new level of power. His energy gets far more intense. Sparks of electricity surround him. Kakarot accesses Super Saiyan 2. He takes advantage of this power, punching clean through Android 13, then recoiling his arm back, creating a diamond shape with his hands, and launching the most powerful Kikoho he's launched yet. Android 13 is completely destroyed, evaporating from the energy, and then all the energy dispels from Kakarot. Though, he's glad with himself. He doesn't know what that power was that he accessed, but he won the fight, and that's really all that matters to him. And it'll also tell him that there's more power he could access. He's not at his peak yet, probably not even close. Krillin's amazed watching from below. Thankfully, he's not their foe anymore because there's no way he could deal with Kakarot. But Kakarot floats back down to where Raditz and Nappa are. Nappa begrudgingly thanks Kakarot for reviving him and for saving him. Raditz actually knows about Super Saiyan because he spent enough time around Kakarot. He doesn't have it for himself, but Kakarot has told him about it. And Nappa did hear about it from Kakarot when he first got revived, but this is the first time he saw it in person, and it makes the two other Saiyans realize how far behind Kakarot they are. And Kakarot thinks it might be time for them to finally leave Earth. But where are they going to go to? And how? Well, Kakarot does have an idea. They search for Jiro's lab, specifically whichever one developed Android 13. It takes some time, but they eventually find it. He knows that Jiro took Kakarot's space pod before. That's how he has the moon projector in his hands. And Jiro's regular lab might be gone, but this one has backups of everything, so once they find it, they even have schematics of Kakarot's space pod. But now the bigger issue is who's going to build this for them, because they have the plans for it, but none of them are really that technical. Thankfully, Krillin actually has someone in mind. It's Bulma. She's not really sure about helping out these people, especially because she doesn't know who Raditz and Nappa are, and as far as she knows, Kakarot terrorized everyone before. But Krillin promises he's better now. And for Bulma, this isn't really too hard of a task to do. This isn't even the first spaceship she's made. But with these schematics, combined with the previous data she has on building spaceships, particularly the one that took them to Namek, she's able to build a new ship for Kakarot and his crew. It's bigger too, and it could actually be turned into a capsule if they wanted as well. Much faster than the last ship she made as well. She kind of took this as a challenge for herself, but at the same time, since she wasn't really too sure about Kakarot herself, this is a good way to ensure that they're not going to be a problem on Earth. Now, Krillin's not even worried about Kakarot anymore, but he doesn't blame her for thinking like that. Kakarot says his goodbyes to everyone. Tao's crew, and Krillin's crew. It was really interesting coming back here, but he doesn't know. He feels like this planet isn't really for him. And again, it's not like he's some virtuous warrior like Krillin or someone. There's bigger and better things out in space that he can encounter. The three Saiyans end up leaving with no real plan of what they're going to do next. And out in space, Vegeta's training. He's recovered and is stronger than before. And more importantly, he's a Super Saiyan. He can't wait to beat Kakarot. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.